The alarm on the infinite horizon screamed through the quiet ship. Captain Sung-Ho Lee woke up fast. He ran to the bridge in his sleeping clothes. His crew was already there, staring at the screens. "What is it?" Sung-Ho asked. "A distress signal, Captain," said the young officer at the controls. "Coming from the Purple Nebula, it's old tech, very old." Sung-Ho looked at the signal pattern. It was weak and broken. "How old?" "Maybe 1,000 years, sir." The captain rubbed his tired eyes. The Infinite Horizon was a research ship, not a military vessel. They studied new planets and strange space phenomena. They were not prepared for emergencies, but a distress signal was a distress signal. Galactic law was clear about that. "Change course," Sung-Ho ordered. "Take us there." The ship moved through the purple clouds of the nebula. It took 3 hours. When they came out on the other side, they found a small moon. It was covered in blue crystals that glowed in the dark. The distress signal came from the surface. "Sir, I'm reading life signs," said Ho, the ship's. He was a thin man with glasses that always slid down his nose. "Big ones, really big." "How big?" Sung-Ho asked. "Like building-sized, sir." The crew looked at each other. Hae-Won Park, the ship's medic, checked her equipment. She was a short woman with strong hands and a serious face. "I'm coming down with the landing team." "We don't know what's down there," Sung-Ho warned. "Exactly, that's why you need a medic." They took a small shuttle to the surface. Besides Sung-Ho, Ho, and Hae-Won, 2 security officers came along. They carried weapons but kept them lowered. The shuttle landed on the crystal ground with a soft crunch. The moon's air was breathable but cold, very cold. Their breath came out in white clouds. They walked toward the signal source. The crystals under their feet made musical sounds with each step. Then they saw her. The creature was massive. She lay on her side between 2 crystal mountains. Her body was covered in scales that shimmered like metal. Each scale was the size of a dinner plate. She had 4 legs, each ending in claws that could tear through steel. Her tail was longer than the shuttle. Her wings, folded against her body, looked like they could block out the sun. A dragon, a real dragon. "Oh no," Ho whispered. "Oh no, no, no." Everyone in the galaxy knew about dragons. They were the most dangerous predators in known space. They destroyed ships. They ate entire colonies. Every civilized species had the same policy: kill dragons on sight. It was the law. "Back to the shuttle," Sung-Ho said quietly, slowly. But then they heard it, not with their ears. The voice came inside their heads, soft and desperate. "Please don't harm us. Mommy is dying." The security officers raised their weapons. Hae-Won grabbed Sung-Ho's arm. Ho pushed his glasses up and looked around frantically. 5 smaller shapes moved out from behind the mother dragon. They were still huge, each one the size of a bus. But they were clearly young. Their scales were duller. Their movements were clumsy. They had big eyes that reflected the crystal light. "Baby dragons." One of them, the smallest, took a step forward. It lowered its head to the ground in a gesture that looked like surrender. "Please," the voice came again. "Mommy is dying. We don't know what to do. Please don't harm us." Ho took off his glasses and cleaned them with shaking hands. They're talking to us." "Dragons don't talk," one security officer said. His gun was still pointed at the bobbies. "These ones do," Hae-Won said. She was staring at the mother dragon. "And she's in bad shape. Look at her breathing." The mother dragon's chest rose and fell slowly, too slowly. Her scales, which should have been bright, were dark and dull. Liquid that looked like silver blood leaked from her mouth. "We should call this in," the security officer said. "Get a military ship here." "And they'll do what?" Hae-Won asked. "Kill them all. She's already dying." "They're dragons, ma'am. It's protocol." Sung-Ho looked at the baby dragons. They were huddled together now, shaking, not from cold, from fear. He had seen that kind of fear before in his childhood in animals that knew they were about to die. "Lower your weapons," he said. "Sir." "That's an order. Lower them." The security officers obeyed, but they looked unhappy about it. Ho walked forward slowly. "I'm going to try to communicate better." He pulled out a small device from his pack. It was designed to boost telepathic signals. The smallest baby dragon watched him come closer. Its eyes were golden and very large. "It's okay," Ho said softly. "We're not going to hurt you." He turned on the device. The telepathic voice became clearer, like turning up the volume on a radio. "Mommy brought us here to hide. Bad people hurt dragons, take our scales, kill our families. Mommy said humans were new, didn't know if humans were bad too, but Mommy is sick. The radiation made her sick. She used her body to protect us from the star death. Now she's dying. We don't want to die. Please, please don't harm us." Hae-Won was already walking toward the mother dragon with her medical scanner. Sung-Ho wanted to stop her but didn't. She was brave, braver than him. She ran the scanner over the massive creature. The numbers that came back made her face go pale. "Captain," she called out, "her entire bloodstream is poisoned, crystalline radiation the worst kind. For a creature this size, she should already be dead." "Can you help her?" Ho asked. "I don't know, I've never treated a dragon before. Nobody has." Haywan looked up at the dying mother. "But I can try." The smallest baby dragon pressed against Ho's leg. Even young, it was heavy and warm. He put his hand on its scales. They felt like warm glass. "Thank you for not killing us," the baby said in his mind. "What are your names?" Sung Ho made his decision then. He tapped his communication device. "Sung Ho to Infinite Horizon. We need the full medical team down here, all the equipment they can carry, and don't report this to command yet." "Sir," the voice crackled back, "what did you find?" The captain looked at the 5 baby dragons and their dying mother. He thought about protocol. He thought about galactic law. He thought about what was right. "We found someone who needs our help," he said. "That's all you need to know right now." The baby dragons moved closer together. For the first time in their short lives, they felt something they had never felt before. They felt hope. The medical team arrived within an hour. Bora came down the shuttle ramp carrying 3 cases of equipment. She was the ship's quantum medical specialist, a genius who had graduated university at 16. She took one look at the mother dragon and whistled. "You weren't joking about the size," she said. Haywan was already setting up monitors around the dragon's massive body. "Her name is, the little ones told us." "The little ones talk?" Bora asked. As if to answer, all 5 baby dragons turned to look at her. Their voices filled her head at once. "Hello, new human. Are you here to help mommy?" Bora dropped one of her cases. "Okay, yes, they definitely talk." One, the communications officer, was the last to arrive. He was tall and quiet, with a gift for understanding alien languages. He carried a special helmet designed to amplify telepathic connections. "Let me try something," one said. He put on the helmet and adjusted the settings. "I'm going to link with them more deeply. Maybe we can understand what happened." Ho stayed close to the smallest baby dragon. It had told him its name was. The little dragon followed him everywhere now, like a lost puppy, except this puppy was the size of a truck. One closed his eyes. The helmet glowed softly. When he opened his eyes again, they were wet with tears. "I saw it," he said quietly. "I saw everything." The team gathered around him. Even the security officers leaned in to listen. Their home world was called. It was beautiful. Dragons lived there in peace for millions of years. They didn't bother anyone. They just wanted to raise their families and fly in the skis. One took a shaky breath. Then the mining companies came. Bora nodded grimly. "Let me guess, they wanted the scales." The scales contain quantum computing materials, the most valuable substance in the galaxy. One dragon scale can power a ship for a year. A full dragon. One couldn't finish. "So they hunted them," Sung Ho said. "They did more than hunt. They farmed them, bred them in cages, harvested their scales while they were still alive." One pointed to the baby dragons. "Escaped from a farming facility. She was pregnant. She flew for months, hiding in asteroid fields and dead zones. She gave birth to her babies inside a collapsing star system." Haywan looked confused. "That's suicide, the radiation alone." "She wrapped herself around her eggs, used her body as a shield. She absorbed all the radiation so her babies could live." One wiped his eyes. "By the time they hatched, she was already sick, but she kept flying, kept hiding. She brought them here because the crystals masked their heat signatures. She thought they'd be safe." The smallest dragon made a sad sound. Not a roar, more like a whimper. "Mommy hasn't eaten in so long. We offered her food, but she gave it all to us. We tried to make her better, but we're too small. We don't know medicine." Bora was already running more scans. Numbers and graphs filled her portable screen. She worked in silence for 20 minutes. Finally, she looked up. "The radiation is crystallized in her bloodstream. It's blocking oxygen flow to her organs. Her body is trying to filter it out, but it's too much, too fast." "Can we remove it?" Haywan asked. "From a human, sure. From a creature this size with a completely unknown biology," Bora shook her head. "I'd need to invent new procedures, new equipment, and even then—" "Even then what?" Sung Ho pressed. "Even then she has maybe 2 days, 3 if we're lucky." The baby dragons made sounds of distress. They pressed against their mother's cooling body. Ho knelt down beside. "What do you babies eat?" "Minerals, metals. We can eat almost anything hard, but mommy needs protein, lots of protein, and energy crystals." "We have protein synthesizers on the ship," Haywan said. "But energy crystals, that's advanced tech. We don't carry those." The medium-sized dragon, whose name was Kiva, spoke up. "The blue crystals here, they have energy, but mommy is too weak to break them. Her teeth hurt." Sung-ho looked at the glowing crystals around them. We could break them, grind them down. Wait, Bora said. She was staring at her scanner with wide eyes. Wait. These crystals, they're not just energy sources, they're quantum filters, natural ones. Everyone looked at her. Explain it in simple words, Sung-ho said. The radiation in blood is crystallized, right? These crystals on the ground, they vibrate at a frequency that breaks down crystalline structures, if we could get enough of them into her system. They dissolve the radiation, Haewon finished. But how do we get them into her bloodstream? We can't exactly ask her to swallow medicine. Bora grinned. It was the smile she got when she had a crazy idea. We don't, we perform surgery. The security officers looked at each other nervously. One of them spoke up. Ma'am, with all respect, that dragon could wake up and kill us all. She won't, Ho said firmly. Will you? For the first time, the mother dragon opened her eyes. They were enormous, the color of amber and filled with pain, but also with intelligence. She looked at each human, one by one. Then she closed her eyes again and lowered her massive head to the ground. The gesture was clear. She was giving permission. All right, Sung-ho said. We do this. Bora, Haewon, tell us what you need. The two women worked fast. They sent security officers to harvest crystals and grind them into fine powder. One stayed with the bobbies, keeping them calm and explaining what was happening. Ho helped set up the medical equipment. Bora designed a filtration device using parts from 3 different machines. It looked like it shouldn't work. It was held together with wire and hope. But when she powered it on, it hummed to life. This will filter her blood, Bora explained. Pull out the crystallized radiation and replace it with dissolved crystal solution. But we need to access her bloodstream directly. Haewon studied his neck. The scales there were thinner. I can make an incision here, but I'll need help keeping her stable. They worked through the night. The blue crystals cast strange shadows. The baby dragons watched silently, their big eyes reflecting the medical lights. Haewon's hands were steady as she cut through the dragon's scales. Silver blood welled up, but she had expected that. She inserted tubes connected to Bora's machine. Starting filtration now, Bora said. The machine groaned. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then dark, thick liquid began flowing out of his body into a waste container. It looked like oil mixed with broken glass. It's working, Haewon breathed. By all the stars, it's actually working. They worked for 47 hours straight, taking turns to rest but never stopping. They fed the ground crystals mixed with protein paste. They monitored her vital signs. They adjusted the machine when it began to overheat. The baby dragons brought them water from a nearby crystal spring. They used their warm bodies to keep the humans from freezing in the cold night. Stayed closest to Ho. When the scientist finally collapsed from exhaustion, the little dragon curled around him, keeping him warm while he slept. On the 48th hour, his eyes opened. This time they were bright, clear. She lifted her massive head and looked at her children. Then she looked at the humans. When she spoke, her telepathic voice was strong and deep, like thunder in their minds. You saved me, you saved my children. Why? Your species doesn't know us, we could be dangerous to you. Sung-ho looked up at the giant creature. He was exhausted, covered in dirt and dragon blood, but he smiled. You asked us not to harm you, he said simply. We decided to do better than that. Was getting stronger, but she was not well yet. She could lift her head now. She could move her legs, but she was still weak. The poison had damaged her organs badly. She needed time to heal. The baby dragons were a different problem. They're starving, Mi-song said. She was the ship's nutritional. She looked at the readings on her scanner and frowned. They've been giving their food to their mother for weeks, maybe months. Their bodies are eating their own muscle tissue. Ho watched as tried to walk. The little dragon stumbled. Its legs were too thin. What do they need? Everything. Proteins, minerals, metals, calcium, iron. Their bodies are growing, but they don't have the fuel. Mi pulled up charts on her tablet. A young dragon should eat about 200 pounds of material per day. These 5 haven't been eating even 50 pounds total. Can we synthesize food for them? Haewon asked. I can try, but it'll be expensive. We'll use up most of our ship's resources. Captain Sung-ho looked at his crew. They were all exhausted. They had been working non-stop for 2 days. They should be continuing their research mission. They should be following protocol and reporting the dragons to command. But when he looked at the baby dragons huddled together, trying to stay warm, he knew there was only one choice. Do it, he said. Use whatever you need. Mi got to work. She used the ship's synthesizers to create nutrient paste. It was gray and looked terrible, but it was packed with everything growing dragons needed. She mixed in ground crystals and metal filings from the ship's machine shop. The Bobby sniffed it suspiciously at first. Then Kiva, the bravest one, took a small bite. Her eyes went wide. It's good, it's really good. All 5 dragons dove into the food. They ate like they had never eaten before, which in a way they hadn't, not like this, not enough. While the bobbies ate, Wu worked on a different problem. He was the ship's engineering prodigy, only 22 years old but already brilliant. He had been studying the radiation in its body. The filtration device is working, he told Bora, but it's too slow. At this rate, it'll take another week to clean her blood completely, and the machine is already breaking down. Can you build a better one? She asked. No, but I can build 3 more just like it, Wu grinned. If we run 4 machines at once, we cut the time to 2 days. You'll need more equipment. I'll cannibalize the shuttle's environmental systems. We won't be able to fly it for a while, but we won't need to. Bora hesitated. If we do that, we're committed. We can't leave until this is finished. Good, Wu said. I wasn't planning to leave anyway. He worked through the day and into the night. He took apart machines and put them back together in new ways. He used wire and metal plates and pieces of computer systems. The security officers helped him carry equipment. By morning, 4 filtration machines hummed around his massive body. The dark, poisoned blood flowed out faster now. The dragon's scales were already looking brighter. One spent his time with the bobbies. He taught them human words to go with their telepathy. He learned their names and their personalities. Kiva was brave and curious. She asked a million questions about humans and ships in space. Was quiet and thoughtful. He liked to watch the stars. Was playful. She kept trying to fly, even though her wings weren't strong enough yet. Was protective. He always positioned himself between his siblings and any potential danger. And the smallest was gentle and loving. She followed Ho everywhere. They're just children, one told Sung-Ho one evening. That's what people need to understand. They're not monsters. They're kids who want to play and learn and be safe. Sung-Ho watched as tried to pounce on a glowing crystal. She missed and tumbled head over tail. Her siblings made sounds that could only be laughter. The galaxy won't see them that way, the captain said quietly. To everyone else, they're dangerous predators. Then the galaxy is wrong. It was Ho who had the idea to teach them. If the dragons could show intelligence, empathy, culture, then maybe people would understand. He started with music. He played recordings from his personal collection, classical pieces from Earth, harmonic chants from the Antares colonies, rhythm patterns from the drift worlds. The baby dragons loved it. They swayed their heads to the beats, started humming along, her voice surprisingly musical. Then Ho taught them games, simple ones at first, hide and seek among the crystal formations, pattern recognition, problem solving. The dragons learned fast, too fast. Within days, they were solving puzzles that stumped most adult humans. Haewon watched from a distance. They're intelligent, really intelligent. Smarter than us, probably, Ho agreed. Their brains are huge, and the telepathy means they can share knowledge instantly among themselves. Watched her children play with the humans. She was getting stronger every day. The machines had cleaned most of the poison from her blood. Her scales gleamed again. Her voice in their minds was powerful. You have given my children something I could not, she told the humans one night. You have given them joy. They were born in fear. They have lived their whole lives running and hiding. But here with you they play, they laugh, they learn. What happened to your people? Sung-Ho asked. Why did the galaxy turn on you? Great eyes grew sad. We were guardians once. Did you know that? Long ago, before most of your civilizations existed, dragons protected the young species. We fought the void spawn that came from dark space. We shielded planets with our bodies when stars exploded. We asked for nothing in return. What changed? Haewon asked. Greed. Someone discovered that our scales could power technology. At first they asked. Some of us gave scales willingly. We shed them naturally like your hair, but willing gifts were not enough. They wanted more. They wanted to farm us, breed us, harvest us. Spread one massive wing. It was covered in scars. We fought back. We tried to protect ourselves. That made us enemies. The corporations spread lies, told everyone we were mindless beasts, dangerous predators. They created the kill-on-sight laws, and slowly over centuries they hunted us to near extinction. How many are left? One asked quietly. I don't know. I have not seen another dragon in 3 years. We hide, we run, we die alone. My children might be the last generation. The humans were silent. The baby dragons had stopped playing. They pressed close to their mother. Then walked to Ho. She lowered her head and touched her nose to his chest, right over his heart. You're not like the bad people. You're different. Why? Ho put his hand on her scaled snout. Because we choose to be. Every person, every species, every culture gets to choose who they are. We could have killed you. That would have been easy. But we chose to save you instead. That's what makes us who we are. Captain Sung-Ho's communication device beeped. It was a message from the infinite horizon. Command was asking for status updates. They wanted to know what the team had found on the crystal moon. Sung-Ho looked at his crew, at the baby dragons playing with crystal fragments, at growing stronger every day, at the machines that hummed with makeshift parts and determination. He thought about what would happen if he told the truth. Command would order the dragons' execution. They would follow galactic law, do the politically safe thing. But Sung-Ho had never been good at safe. He tapped a message back. Research ongoing. Valuable discoveries. Need more time. Will report when complete. He put the device away and looked at Ho. We're buying time, but eventually people will find out, and when they do, they'll send warships. Then we'd better be ready, Ho said. Raised her massive head. Her eyes glowed in the crystal light. You would fight your own people for us. If we have to, Haewon said. She checked the filtration machines. But maybe we won't have to fight. Maybe we can show them what we've learned, that dragons aren't monsters. They will not listen, said sadly. Maybe not, Sung-Ho agreed. But we have to try, because if we don't, if we just accept the way things are, then we're no better than the people who hurt you. The baby dragons gathered around the humans. In the cold night they shared warmth, across species, across fear. Across the darkness of space, a small group of humans and dragons sat together under alien stars. And for the first time in a very long time, felt something she thought was lost forever. Hoping. The secret lasted 6 days. A supply ship arrived at the infinite horizon with routine deliveries. The crew member who brought down supplies saw the dragons. He took pictures. By the time his ship left, the images were already spreading across the galactic network. Sung-Ho got the first angry message an hour later. It was from Admiral Park of the Human Defense Fleet. Captain Lee, what in the name of Earth are you doing? Those are dragons, dragons. You were supposed to report and eliminate on sight. Instead, you're, what, playing with them? Have you lost your mind? More messages flooded in, from government officials, from corporate executives, from military commanders, all saying the same thing, kill the dragons immediately. But other messages came too. These were quieter, secret. They came through encrypted channels and private networks. A merchant sent coordinates of a hidden dragon nest in the asteroid belt. I found them 2 years ago. I couldn't kill the mother. She reminded me of my own parent. I've been leaving food there ever since. Don't tell my government. A scientist from the Science Council sent research data. We've known for decades that dragons are sentient, intelligent, but the corporations suppressed our findings. They're not animals. They never were. An engineer from the outer colony sent blueprints. If you need to hide them, use these shield generators. They'll mask heat signatures and quantum readings. Han, the ship's intelligence officer, collected all these messages. She was a small woman with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She showed Sung-Ho the data. Captain, we're getting hundreds of messages, from dozens of species. People have been hiding dragons all over the galaxy. How is that possible? Sung-Ho asked. The laws have been in place for centuries. Because people know the truth. They know dragons aren't monsters, but they're afraid to speak up. Going against the megacorporations means losing everything. Your job, your home, maybe your life. One was monitoring public broadcasts. It's getting worse, sir. The Empire just issued a formal demand. They want the dragons handed over to them immediately. For what? Haewon asked. They claim it's for proper disposal, but based on these leaked documents, one pulled up files on his screen. They want to study them, harvest them. The Empire has secret dragon farms in deep space. Ho felt sick. He looked at who was sleeping with her head on his lap. We can't let that happen. We won't, Sung-Ho said firmly, but we need a plan. Arrived the next day. He was Earth's diplomatic envoy to the Galactic Council. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 40 years trying to make peace between different species. He sat in the Infinite Horizons meeting room and looked at Sung-Ho with disappointment. You've created an enormous problem, Captain. I saved lives, Ambassador. You violated galactic law. The Empire is threatening sanctions against Earth. The assembled worlds are calling us reckless. Do you understand what this means? Sung-Ho leaned forward. Do you understand what those dragons down there mean? They're not just animals. They're a people, a civilization, and we've been committing genocide against them for centuries. It was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed, show me. They went to the crystal moon. Saw now strong and healthy, her scales shining like metal in the light. He saw the 5 young dragons, playing and learning. He watched as demonstrated her ability to solve complex mathematical equations using crystal arrangements. One established a telepathic link so could hear story. The ambassador listened to everything. The ancient role as guardians, the betrayal, the hunting, the farms, the extinction of an entire people. When it was finished, sat on a crystal rock, he looked very old and very sad. I didn't know, he whispered. I've been negotiating with the Galactic Council for 40 years. I've signed trade agreements with the corporations, and all this time. Kiva approached him carefully. She was less shy than her siblings. Are you a leader of humans? She asked. I try to be, he said. Then can you tell other leaders? Can you tell them we're not bad? We just want to live. We want to fly and learn and have families. We don't want to hurt anyone. Looked into the young dragon's golden eyes. I will try. I promise I will try. He returned to his ship and started sending messages. Not to governments, not to corporations. He sent his messages to the people. He leaked story to news networks. He shared videos of the baby dragons playing, learning, demonstrating intelligence. He included testimony from the Infinite Horizon crew. He released the suppressed research showing dragon sentience. The galactic network exploded. Some people were angry. They called it human propaganda. They demanded the dragons be destroyed before they became dangerous. But more people were horrified. They had believed the corporations' lies. They had thought dragons were mindless beasts. Now they saw children. They saw a mother who had sacrificed everything for her bobbies. They saw intelligence and kindness and fear. Protests started on dozens of worlds. People marched in the streets, demanding the laws be changed. They called for investigations into the corporation farms. They wanted justice for the dragons. The megacorporations fought back. They used their money and influence. They controlled many politicians and news networks. They spread counter-messages. Dragons were dangerous, humans were naive, this was all a trick. The Empire sent a fleet. 6 warships jumped into the system and took position around the crystal moon. The Admiral's message was clear. Hand over the dragons or face military consequences. Sung-Ho stood on the bridge of the Infinite Horizon. His small research ship looked pathetic next to the massive warships. He had no weapons, no shields worth mentioning, no chance. Touched his arm. Captain, I'm receiving coded messages from the coordinates in the earlier transmissions. What kind of messages? Jump signatures, incoming vessels. The space around the crystal moon suddenly filled with light. Ship after ship appeared, not military vessels. These were cargo haulers, science ships, personal transports, mining vessels. 17 ships from 17 different species. A merchant ship hung beside them. Its captain sent a message. I hid a dragon family for 3 years. I won't let you kill another. A research vessel. We've studied dragons in secret. They saved my team from a solar flare once. We owe them. An independent freighter. My daughter was sick. A dragon healed her with quantum resonance. I've been looking for a way to repay that debt. Ship after ship, each with a story, each refusing to let the dragons die. The Admiral sent another message, angrier now. You're all violating international law. Stand down or be fired upon. Emerged from the crystal caves. She spread her enormous wings. Her voice filled every ship's communication system, telepathic but somehow also audible. Stop, I will not let innocents die for me. I will surrender, take me, harvest me, but let my children go, please. No's voice was desperate. Mommy, no. But before anyone could respond, something impossible happened. The blue crystals on the moon began to glow, not dimly. They blazed with light. The glow spread across the entire moon's surface. Looked confused, then understanding filled her ancient eyes. The crystals, they're responding to us, to our quantum signatures. She began to hum, not with her voice. It was deeper than that. It was a vibration that came from inside her body, a frequency that humans couldn't hear but could feel in their bones. Her children joined her, 5 young voices in harmony with their mother. The crystals sang back. Every ship sensor went crazy, energy readings spiked, quantum fluctuations danced across screens. Bora was watching her instruments in awe. Captain, the dragons aren't just making sounds. They're conducting quantum harmonics, using the crystals as amplifiers. What does that mean? Sung-Ho asked. It means they can do what the corporations need scales for. They can power technology, create quantum fields, generate energy, all without being hurt, all without dying. Wu laughed. They don't need to harvest dragons. Dragons can share their abilities willingly. The light show continued for 10 minutes. When it ended, every ship in the system had their power reserves completely full. Drained weapons were recharged. Empty fuel cells were filled. The Admiral was silent. Finally he spoke. How is this possible? His voice was gentle. It's what we were made for, to help, to protect, to give. We have always been willing to share, but you cannot take it by force. It must be freely given. Seize the moment. He broadcast to every ship, every station, every planet in range. "The galaxy has a choice," he said. "We can continue to hunt dragons to extinction, or we can learn from them, partner with them. Let them share their gifts freely, not as slaves, not as resources, as equals." The silence stretched, then the captain spoke. "I stand with the dragons." The scientist, "As do we." One by one, the 17 ships declared their position. The admiral could have fired. He had the weapons, he had the authority, but he looked at his crew, at the readings showing what the dragons could do, at the united front of different species. "This isn't over," he finally said. "The council will hear of this." "Let them hear," replied. "Let the whole galaxy hear. The age of hunting dragons is finished." The fleet jumped away. The other ships remained, forming a protective ring around the crystal moon. Nuzzled against Ho, "We're safe." "For now," he said, scratching under her chin. "But we still have a lot of work to do." Sung Ho looked at the gathered ships, at the baby dragons, at Strong and Proud. They had won this battle, but the war for dragon rights was just beginning. 3 months later, the crystal moon looked very different. Buildings made of crystalline material stood among the blue rock formations. They were beautiful, designed by both humans and dragons working together. The structures used dragon quantum harmonics for power and light. No generators needed, no fuel consumed. The first dragon sanctuary. Ho walked through the main hall at his side. She was bigger now. Good food and safety had helped her grow. Her scales gleamed like polished bronze. Her wings, once too weak to lift her, could now carry her on short flights. "Today's the big day," Ho told her, nervous. "Very," admitted. "What if they don't like what we say? What if they still want to hurt dragons?" "Then we keep fighting, but I don't think it will come to that." In the gathering chamber, representatives from 42 species waited. This was the largest interspecies assembly in 50 years. They had come to hear the dragon speak, to decide the future. Stood at the center, magnificent and powerful. Her children flanked her. They were young but growing stronger every day. Kiva and Little. Captain Sung Ho stood with the human delegation. Haewon, Bora, Won, Wu, and Mi were there too. They wore their uniforms with pride. They had disobeyed orders to do what was right. Earth had decided not to punish them. Instead, they received medals for exceptional diplomatic service. Called the assembly to order. "We are here to address the dragon question. For centuries we have hunted them, killed them, harvested them. We were told they were dangerous beasts. We now know this was a lie. The question before us is simple. What do we do now?" The representative stood. He was a tall being covered in metallic plates. "The Empire acknowledges past excesses, but dragons remain potentially dangerous. How can we trust them?" His voice filled every mind in the chamber. "You cannot trust us. Not yet. Trust must be earned, just as you must earn ours. My people have been hunted for 300 years. You ask me to trust you. I ask you the same question. How can we trust you?" Murmurs spread through the assembly, but the representative nodded slowly. "A fair point." A corporate representative from the Dragon Scale Mining Consortium spoke next. She looked nervous. "What about our investments? We have entire industries built on dragon scale technology. Are we supposed to just abandon them?" Wu stood up. He was the youngest person in the room, but his voice was confident. "You don't have to. Dragons can provide quantum harmonics willingly, better than harvested scales ever could. We've run tests. One healthy dragon can power a city for a month with just an hour of harmonic resonance, and it doesn't hurt them at all." "Why would they help us?" the corporate woman asked, "after what we've done?" Lowered her great head. "Because it's what we were made for. Before greed corrupted the galaxy, we were guardians. We protected the young species, powered your first ships, shielded your colonies from cosmic storms. We did this freely because we believed in cooperation, in mutual benefit." She raised her head high. "We can return to that, but not as slaves, not as resources to be harvested, as partners, as equals." Kiva stepped forward. Her voice was younger, more hopeful than her mother's. "We can teach you quantum harmonics, share our knowledge, help your technology advance in ways you never imagined. All we ask is to live in peace, to raise our families, to fly among the stars without fear." An elderly scientist stood. "I have studied dragons for 20 years in secret. I can confirm everything they say. Dragon quantum harmonics could revolutionize energy production, medicine, communications. This isn't just about morality, it's about progress." Presented evidence next. She showed documents from the corporation farms, video evidence of dragon intelligence being suppressed, research that proved sentience but was buried for profit. The assembly watched in silence. Some representatives looked ashamed, others looked angry at being deceived. A young delegate from the outer colony spoke quietly. "I have a confession. My family hid a dragon for 5 years. We found her injured on our planet. We healed her. She taught my sister mathematics using quantum principles. My sister is now the youngest quantum physicist in our system. The dragon left last year. We never told anyone because we were afraid. More voices joined in. A merchant who had sheltered dragon eggs. A pilot who had been saved by a dragon from a ship malfunction. A teacher whose students had learned from dragon telepathy. Story after story, across species, across cultures, people who had known the truth and stayed silent out of fear. Let them speak, let the truth fill the chamber. When the last story finished, he looked at the assembly. We have a choice to make. We can continue as we have been, hunting an intelligent species to extinction for profit, or we can try something new, something better. The representative stood again. The Empire does not make decisions lightly. We will need proof, a demonstration of this partnership you propose. Nodded, then let me show you. She led the assembly outside. The crystal moon's surface stretched before them, beautiful and stark, spread her wings. They were enormous, blocking out the distant sun. Her children joined her, 5 young dragons in formation with their mother. They began to sing. It started as a hum, then it built into something more complex, harmonics layered on harmonics. The blue crystals responded, glowing brighter and brighter. Energy danced between the crystals and the dragons. Bora monitored her instruments. The energy output is incredible, clean, sustainable, and completely renewable. No radiation, no waste, just pure quantum energy. The dragons shaped the energy. They formed it into a shield that covered the entire moon, then into a beacon that could be seen from orbit, then into a beautiful light display that painted the sky with colors that had no names. When they finished, spoke again. This is what we offer, not as servants, not as slaves, as friends. The vote took 2 hours. There were debates, arguments. Some corporations refused to give up their harvesting operations. Some governments worried about security. But in the end, the measure passed. 35 species voted yes, 5 voted no, 2 abstained. The Dragon Protection Act became law. Hunting dragons was now illegal. The corporation farms would be dismantled. Dragons would be recognized as sentient beings with full rights. It wasn't perfect. It wouldn't solve everything overnight, but it was a start. Celebrated by flying loops around the crystal formations. She was getting good at flying. Ho watched her with pride. You did well today, he told her when she landed. We all did, she said, but Ho, what happens now? Where do we go? Anywhere you want. The galaxy is open to you now. I want to stay with you. Is that allowed? Ho felt his eyes get wet. I'd like that very much. Over the next few weeks, dragons began to emerge from hiding. Not many. The species was still nearly extinct. But 43 dragons came to the sanctuary, adults and young ones, some injured, all scared. Welcomed each one. The sanctuary grew, more buildings, more gardens of crystal, a place where dragons could live safely. But the dragons didn't just hide away. They began to teach. Kiva worked with scientists to develop new quantum technologies, helped astronomers understand cosmic phenomena, taught young pilots advanced navigation, trained with rescue teams using his strength to save people from disasters. And stayed with Ho. They became the first official dragon-human bonded pair. Together, they traveled the galaxy, showing people that cooperation was possible, that different species could work together. 1 year after the first contact, Sung-Ho stood in his office on the sanctuary. He looked older now. The stress had aged him, but he smiled more too. Hae-1 entered carrying reports. The medical exchange program is working well. We've treated 17 more dragons for various ailments. In return, they've taught us quantum healing techniques that will save thousands of lives. Any news from Earth? Sung-Ho asked. They want to name a ship after you. The captain Sung-Ho Lee, a diplomatic vessel for interspecies relations. He laughed. I'm not dead yet. You're a hero, sir. You changed the galaxy. We all did, the whole crew. Outside, dragons flew through the sky, young ones learning from elders. Humans worked alongside them, building, learning, growing. It wasn't perfect. There were still problems. Some corporations continued illegal harvesting operations in secret. Some governments still viewed dragons with suspicion. There were incidents, conflicts, growing pains. But things were getting better. Me created a school where young beings from different species learned together. Dragon children and human children and children, all studying side by side. Wu and Bora got married, sang at their wedding, her voice a gift more precious than gold. One wrote a book about the experience. It became a bestseller across 40 systems. And on quiet nights when the work was done, Ho would sit with on a crystal cliff. They would watch the stars together. She would rest her great head in his lap and he would scratch behind her ears. "Do you think we made a difference?" asked one knight. "Yes," Ho said. "We showed people that fear doesn't have to win, that kindness can be stronger than cruelty, that when someone asks for help, the right answer is to help them. What if we had never met? What if your ship had passed by? Then the galaxy would be darker, but we did meet, and we chose mercy over fear. That's what matters." Was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You know what I think makes humans special?" "What?" "You ask questions that others don't. When everyone said this is how things are, you asked, but what if things could be different? When everyone said dragons are monsters, you asked, what if they're not? You don't just accept the world as it is, you imagine what it could be." Ho smiled. Maybe that's what intelligence really is, not just knowing things, but being able to imagine them differently. Then humans and dragons together, we can imagine a better galaxy. We already are. Above them the stars shone bright. Across the galaxy, beings of different species were learning to work together, to trust each other, to build something new. It had started with a simple plea, "Please don't harm us, Mommy is dying." And humanity had answered, "We'll do better than not harm you, we'll save you." That choice, made in a moment of compassion on a crystal moon, had changed everything. The baby dragons had whispered for help, and the humans had answered with kindness. And in doing so, they had shown the galaxy what it truly meant to be civilized.